And I think because we talked about two things. We talked about education, we talked about college. And I think the college piece is really about should you do it, should you not do it. But I don't think education is. I think education is always should you do it. Because ignorance is a choice. So I'm gonna leave it.
Question everything. Thoughts, beliefs, habits. Then decide.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Question Everything. Today the topic is going to be on education. So you got myself, Juicy, and you also got...
The old man.
And we are going to question everything. So education, is it necessary? Is it needed? Why do we still do it? Is it important? That's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. So stay tuned. All right. The episode today is about education. So,
Before we actually talk about education,
talk to me.
I know that your birthday is coming up.
Uh-huh.
And you talked about the Burning Man thing. Now, by the time we air, he will have been back from Burning Man, so we can't hear about it yet. We'll hear about that in a while. But what made you want to do Burning Man?
So, I was trying to find something for my 40th that I thought was going to be a little radical. I've been on this self journey of finding myself, finding my balance, finding the Libra in myself. And I wanted an experience that I felt would like culminate that. And it just so happened, honestly, I could not find anything to do for my birthday. I went on everybody else's 40th birthday trips. And a friend of mine who had been to Burning Man like 3 times already, she just happened to hit me up and was coming to town, really was passing through to go prep for Burning Man. And as we got to talking, she kind of put the bug in my ears, and then it actually started on my birthday. So to me, that just felt like
that was a sign.
That was a sign.
Huh?
I was supposed to be at Burning Man. It was hot desert.
Awesome. So we will definitely do a complete episode on Burning Man.
Oh, yes.
You can look forward to that
Me
when
and my
you
tutu.
come back. You're wearing a tutu?
Oh yes, there's Tutu Tuesdays. I think it's Tutu Tuesday. Everybody's wearing a pink tutu.
Okay.
This will be interesting.
Hey,
This is a no holds bar kind of experience.
It's a way to enlightenment, I suppose.
That is the
so
whole key.
you go be enlightened.
That is the whole key. That is.
Okay, now we're talking about education. We're
Yes.
talking about like ABCs. What we got?
We're going to talk about college.
Okay.
So specifically, we're going to see, is college necessary? So to kick us off, I found this post.
Okay.
And it said that only 41% of Americans say that a college degree is necessary for career success today. And that employers are adapting more of a skills first type of approach to hiring, placing a greater value on the practical know-how over academic pedigree. And so when I read that, it made me think I remember growing up, coming out of high school, if you did not go to college, community college, regular 4-year university, whatever it may be, from my generation, it was kind of frowned upon. Like, you were actually looked at as a failure. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, something's wrong with you. Like, what is the issue? Even if you at least attempt to go to college. If you failed out, whatever it may be, that's okay. But at least you tried. And so, the whole shift in concept now that education, or at least college, is not probably the end-all, be-all. And I think we knew that then. I don't know why we acted like that. But the fact that college may not be the end all be all, for me, it's different. It's very different.
I got you. It's generally a generational thing, especially among, I think, minority communities.
Okay.
Minority communities definitely have a high value on education. And in some ways, that's not to be surprised, because for the longest time, the trades were controlled more by the majority. And so sometimes, even if you were of a minority group, you weren't able to get into the trades.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the areas that I grew up in Pennsylvania, the trades, electricians, plumbers, they were all kind of controlled by those unions. You had to get an apprenticeship to get started, and so there were ways to lock people out of those career fields. For me, I kind of came about in the 70s and 80s, and my brother, who was my older brother, he's 4 years older, he was the first of the kids that college was kind of pushed on. And it was basically in the 70s. That's when we started getting a lot of federal Pell Grants, The student loans became a lot easier to get, or at least they were more advertised. And so he was kind of put on that college track. The one thing about it then is no one really talked to him about whether he wanted to be on that track.
Yeah.
And I think at that time he probably didn't. And I've spoken to him a little bit, and he may have made a different choice, may have taken a little bit of time off before taking a venture.
Did you? Well, I guess we should have started with this. Did you go to college? Did you attend a school or university?
University, not specifically. I didn't go away to college.
Okay.
I used my community college in Harrisburg Area Community College. Shout out for all you hack folks. And then I was so tired of going to college or to school in general.
Mm-hmm.
I started right after high school. So graduated, I think it was like June 6th. By June 21st, I was taking my first college course. Did that for a year and a half, finished my associate's degree, and I was burned out of education.
Okay.
So I joined the Air Force. And then throughout time in the Air Force, I was able to take advantage of the academic programs they had, get my bachelor's degree, then later on get my master's degree. So I didn't have that formal going away to school, going to college, which a lot of people think about, talk about, and what we kind of prepare kids for today.
Yeah. And you also think about, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you think about college, I mean, one part is the education piece,
Right.
and, preparing you for the world and all that good jazz. And the other piece is just the experience of getting away, like people who do go away, quote unquote, to college, just the experience of getting outside of your parents' house and just, like living on your own and doing something outside of, the norm, and actually being able to grow and develop
Right.
as a human being. I did go to college. I went away for school. I did the typical 4-year experience. Actually, it was a 5-year program. I got into an MBA program where you get your undergrad and then you go and get your master's right after that.
Okay.
So when I graduated with my MBA. And then did I do anything after that? And then I'm in school right now to get another master's. But I look back, I would say the one blessing was that I went to school on scholarship. I was able to get an academic scholarship coming out of high school. So I try to stress when I coach and talk to people, if I'm going to push college to anybody, I push free college. I don't believe in people having to go in extreme debts for an education that may or may not serve them any real purpose in the long term. And not to say it don't serve any purpose, but I don't think paying for $300,000 to go to a Harvard versus going to a Hattiesburg or Harrisburg, tech school or
Right.
Or a community school is
Well, it's definitely the cost. The cost of education is a barrier for a lot of people. And I did a little bit of quick research.
Yeah.
Didn't take me a long time. Little Google. Here in San Antonio, was where we're at. We're in San Antonio, Texas. We have the Alamo colleges system, Alamo Community Colleges system. We have, I think, 4 or 5 campuses around the city. Each deals with a little bit, slightly different areas. You can get all your basics there, so all the things you need for your basic, like first. But as far as specifics, each one kind of focuses on a certain area.
Okay.
But just in the community college in San Antonio, per credit hour, it's only $109 per credit hour. So if you take a 60 credit associate's program, maybe some up to 72, or depending on what your field is. But just at 60, that's only about $6,600 for the complete associate's degree. Yeah. Now you take a look at the state university system, you're getting up to $6,000 per semester, and that's for someone who lives in the state of Texas. So that was just Texas. I did a couple other folks, California. The average for, and this is the state systems, is $7,500 per semester. And so I'm a big proponent of the community college for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of community college teachers have worked in the career fields that they're teaching.
Yeah.
They're not just straight academics. So if you're taking an economics course, you're taking a math course even, perhaps even a writing course, people are probably, you have more people that are authors at community college levels if you're taking like a creative writing course. If you're taking economics or any of the fine arts, you find people that have worked in those positions. Even some of the sciences, you have people that because they work in a local area, they may only teach part-time.
Yeah.
So they still have their regular occupations in their field, and now they're teaching it as well. So I think that's really a good thing. The class size is often smaller than at a major university where you have lecture halls of 100 kids. You generally don't have that in a community college.
Yeah.
So if you are going to take that route to go to college, I say go ahead, explore your community colleges. It's economical. You can generally stay at home in your local area. And that has some advantages too. A lot of kids, particularly at 18, 19, they go away to college, not too savvy in the world, so they end up maybe partying a little bit too much, not taking the education as seriously as the social aspects, which you mentioned before.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people start college, but not that many finish.
That is true. That is true. And you know, it's funny too. If we're purely talking about the means of seeking additional knowledge,
Right.
The world is so much different now, where there's knowledge is so easily accessible. To me, college is more of just a structured place to learn, but the information is readily available. I mean, you can go to a library and
Right.
read the exact same book that I'm reading
Right.
for a course that I'm then being tested on in a class. So the knowledge is easily acceptable. So if people want to, gain knowledge, you don't have to go to college to do that.
Right.
And I think when I think about probably corporate America, where the workforce is kind of moving towards, I think they started to want to understand that everybody didn't have the ability to go to college. They could have learned in other ways, and you can also learn through experience. So if I have 20, 30 years of experience doing X, Y, and Z, then I'm not as concerned about the fact that I don't have a bachelor's degree at the time.
Right.
Especially a bachelor's degree that you probably got in the 70s or 80s, where the topic could have possibly even changed in terms of where we are right now.
There was a
So
very
how
subtle dig right there.
No,
I'm
no,
not
dig.
exactly sure what it was.
It's even more for me too. It's more of the education is so static to a certain extent. Like having a college degree is static. It's not saying that you're. When I say this, I mean most people who have some type of certification. Like I have my CPA. When you have a CPA or some type of certification, you're forced to do continued education. So regardless of what is happening in that industry, in that field, you're always forced to be kind of kept abreast and like always report out your numbers and stuff like that. Doesn't happen with just a static college degree. You get a college degree, no matter what date or time you get it. Once you got it, it's done. Everything could have changed after that point, and you don't know.
So as your question, your experience, what would you do? What wouldn't you do as far as college goes?
For me, because I went to college for free, and God has blessed me thus far to always have the experience of going to college for free. My job is paying for my college degree right now. I go to college. I like to obtain knowledge. So from that perspective, I use college for I appreciate it for that. But I would not, if I had to go into debt, or if I was, putting myself in a situation where I'm like worried about money and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if I would have pursued a college degree.
Now, what type of, since I didn't have this experience, what value would you put on the social aspect that you got at college?
I would put probably more value on the social aspect than on the actual educational aspect. Well, I would say there's two parts to the social aspect. There is what you learn in terms of, like, because I was in business school, the school prepared us for how we interacted with school, like with like companies when they came in and other professionals. I did like 5 internships in college, so like that aspect of just learning and growing and figuring out the ups and downs of corporate America before I actually had to go in and fuck up my own self. I learned a lot before I even was held accountable for being, acting a certain way. So that was one piece. The second piece was, for me in particular, I needed to get away from my parents' house.
Right.
I needed to grow up and find out. This is me still growing up with Burning Man, trying to find myself. So it's 20 years later. But I wanted to grow up, develop who am I going to be outside of what my parents want me to be. So I had to go to school. So I had to go away. I had to get away and get out of my house. So I definitely put a lot more emphasis on just the social experience that I got.
Right. When I take a look at it, and today, a lot of people look at college as a means to getting a career or getting a job.
Yeah.
But there are a whole bunch of jobs that don't require college,
TikTok.
and you can get. You could be a TikTok
Yeah.
person. You could start a podcast, and who knows? Maybe you'll
Yeah.
get paid.
Yeah.
Never know.
You never know.
So everything's out there, and it doesn't necessarily. But there are some things, and one thing that I saw, which I totally disagree with, over my 40 plus years, working, is a shift from businesses and companies training their employees to a classical educational system. So that's going everything from HVAC to being a barber, although the barber colleges have been around for a while, I suppose, to hairdressing, to, in some cases, even lawn care. And so it's raised the bar for the entry into those professions in a way that I don't necessarily like.
Because you're meaning now, instead of companies training people up in the job, like on the job,
Right,
you have
right.
to go to this school or go to this class
Exactly.
and get that certification.
Exactly. And so it becomes upon, like, let's say you want to be a cosmetologist or be a, perhaps even you only want to do nails or something like that. There's really almost no entry level position of where you can start out just
Oh, yeah.
doing nails or just doing braids
Yeah.
or something like that in a salon. You have to have the full experience and the education. And to me, that's the business model. And I think that when I look at it, when I think about it, when I kind of question it, is that over the years, there's been more emphasis on, well, have a degree, have some type of certification. And even through government policies, money was available for that, generally in the forms of loans, to do even trade school type things, which took the onus off of the company to train their people and onto the person who wanted to work to spend their money to learn how to do the job.
Yeah.
And in today's world, that's what you have to do. I wish we could go back to more on-the-job training for entry-level positions, but I don't necessarily see it happening.
Nah, I don't see it happening either. I think it's all of and it's all if you think about just the way the economy works. It's all of a way to make money.
Right.
If I create a centralized place where instead of me training people up, I outsource to you and make you responsible for it. Now you get money for that, but I also get paid for you getting. It's just making everybody's making more money. That's all this is all about.
It does seem like that a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I look back and I see education as being important to get ahead. Take a look at my sons. My oldest will be hopefully starting college or the military's kind of looking at those two options for after he's out of high school. I would like for him to, even before he joins the military, to at least do a community college program, to start out with that associate's degree. Employers, I do believe, take a look at not necessarily what your degree is, particularly as an associate's, but that you were able to apply yourself for a certain amount of time and earn something academically. And I think that pays off for the folks today.
I do agree. I agree. And also it's, your kid, it depends on the individual.
Right.
I know for myself, and my parents would probably agree with this, there was no, I needed to go away for school. Some people, school is not right for them. Some people, yes, school is right for them, but they need to stay a little closer to home.
Right.
Everybody's going to be completely different. So it's really about the assessment. Like what do you need for yourself? What is going to take you to the next place in your life? Because I recognize now that education no longer is the end all be all, but it's still a tool, and it's a tool that's needed and necessary for whatever you want to elevate and do something next in your life. But it's not the only tool.
So what are some other tools that you think people can use that, like you say, you're going back for another master's degree?
Yeah.
Is that something that you just want to study that, or is it something you think is going to help you?
A mix of both, but it's also to a certain extent. I feel like it's because my job pays for education. I feel like I owe it to myself to get a degree in something educate myself in something and
Well,
somebody's gonna pay for it.
let's unpack that. Let's question it. What's that drive? What's that about? You say you kind of just owe it to yourself because it's there.
Because I believe education is a privilege. I do believe that, especially when, again, free education is a privilege.
Right.
So if I'm afforded, I like to learn, and if I'm afforded the opportunity to learn and learn something that most people would have to pay some significant money for, somebody wants to give me for free, to me, I accept that as a privilege. You know, okay, well, maybe I should take advantage of this opportunity
Right.
and just
Be a lifelong learner.
yeah, why not? It's like somebody gives you a free car and you're not going to drive it. Why not? And they're going to pay the insurance? Well, sure, I drive it.
Okay.
Why not? Yeah.
Okay, so it's there, so
all
you
I have
can
to
take
do is
advantage of
learn.
it.
You know, now granted, it is a time commitment.
Right.
So it's not that there is no discretionary effort on my part to meet this in the middle. But again, I was blessed and afforded the opportunity to get 2 free degrees already. So I'm like, why not keep it going?
So put yourself in a hiring position. So you're going to hire someone.
Yeah.
And you've got two prospective candidates come in. Is your basis the degree that they have, or is it the experience that they have? What are you going to look for?
You know, it's a good question. I think this is when interviews become very important. Because I think you have to talk to both of them. Either one can serve, depending on how well it's been leveraged and utilized. Either one can serve them both purpose, and it also depends on the kind of job you're trying to hire for too. Sometimes that book knowledge, that institutional knowledge. I think about like a lawyer or something
Right.
like that, where you need someone who has the book knowledge. I need you to know that you studied and you know this stuff because that's what I need to be successful in this role. Other jobs, I need to be able to know that once I talk to you and realize your ability to quickly understand, apply, that's not always something you can learn in college. That's just, you being adapt to change and be able to quickly ascertain a situation and then be able to problem solve and all that kind of stuff. Some of that stuff is just learned through experience. And so, like, I need that over the book knowledge. So it really just depends.
Have you ever asked your barber what barber college he went to?
I have not, but I will tell you, I do, not that I care, but I do pay attention to, like, when I go to the nail place or I go to the barber, I do look for their licenses. Now, I don't look for the ones where I'm getting my hair cut in college in the dorm, where my cousin used to cut it on his patio or something like that.
Right.
That's when you don't expect it. But I will also say there's a certain expectation of quality that you have when you go to somebody's. If I go to somebody who doesn't have a degree, well, I'm saying there's somebody who doesn't have a certification versus someone who does. If I go to someone who doesn't have a certification, I'm on your porch and we just kicking it. You do my cut my hair for $10. There's an expectation. Now, you may exceed my expectation, but I still have a lower expectation. But if I go to somebody, I'm in their barber chair, we're in a barber shop, I expect a certain level of quality when I come out of your chair.
Right.
Now, granted, I'm bald, so I don't have that experience at all. But when
It's been a while.
It's
Okay,
been a while. But when I did.
Right. And that's kind of what I guess my point right there is. You can look for the certifications because most states require certification.
Correct.
So yeah, you should have that. And most, if you look closely, they usually will have their. I was trained at this whatever academy or whatever else.
I don't know what schools are.
Right.
The big,
And so I think that is the difference. Is there are certain occupations where we're looking for more expertise than we're looking for book knowledge, like you had mentioned. And somewhere, okay, if you're going to be cutting into me and you're a surgeon, I want you to have had a whole bunch of training and education and supervision
Correct.
before you cut on me.
Like, I think like a plumber, right? Like a plumber, I'm sure there is a textbook answer for how you fix a certain problem, but that textbook answer may not always fix or resolve the issue
Right.
every single time. So a person who has 15 years of plumbing experience have seen different scenarios.
Exactly.
And now because of that, all that experience, means way more than just, them reading the textbook and say, oh, I should have put this wire with this
Right,
one and this
right.
one with that. So yeah, I think it really just honestly depends on the type of occupation you're going to go into.
Okay, so you're an educated man, very educated man. I've gotten mine through totally different type of experiences. I liked mine. I liked the community college level. I think that that's a good way to start out an educational journey, particularly if you don't have the option to go for free at a 4-year university, or if you're not mature enough to think that you can take on a full load, because at most universities you have to take at least 12 credit hours per semester, and you just might not be up to that. So start at a community college and go part-time. It's a lot easier to manage that way. So that's mine. But then there's also other options, and I do believe the entrepreneurial spirit of, if you've got an idea and you can learn how to do it, go out there and do it. College shouldn't do you. Take a look at the tech billionaires. A lot of them may have started college. A lot of them didn't finish because they were smart enough. They could figure out answers to problems that were out there in the tech world, and they just went ahead and did it. So I don't hold it against anyone who does not have a degree.
No.
I've known plenty of people with high degrees that are, doing things that totally different and wouldn't need a degree to do.
Correct.
Acting is one of them, which
Yeah.
I know a lot of actors that have lots of degrees,
Yeah.
but you don't actually need it to do it. So
And honestly, that is an interesting craft to talk about, because I know, you just kind of listen to actors. There's some people who are classically trained, whatever that means,
Right.
but classically trained. They've been educated. They went to this school, that school, blah blah blah. And you have some other folks who,
right.
just because of life or however they ended up in whatever place they were in, they're acting now. Is there a difference in that? Do people feel some type of way where is there a class difference in acting where I'm trained, so I feel I'm better than you?
There may be. I don't run around in the circles of the highly trained actors. There are, particularly from what I understand in the UK, if you're in the academic portions of their training programs, you do get on to particularly Shakespeare companies and the national theater companies. You may have a leg up there.
Okay.
The United States, with some of the main ones, Juilliard and other ones, you may have a leg up in the beginning. But acting is about talent, and even less than talent, it's about the right look. And are you marketable at that time? So there's a whole bunch of factors that go in. That education is pretty low. Formal education is pretty low on the thing for that.
Interesting.
Okay. So we're wrapping up our discussion on education and should you do it or shouldn't you do it.
Yeah.
So what's our takeaway?
My takeaway is, and I think because we talked about two things. We talked about education, we talked about college. And I think the college piece is really about should you do it, should you not do it. But I don't think education is. I think education is always should you do it. Because ignorance is a choice. So I'm going to leave you with that. Ignorance is a choice, and education is free. Like I said, you can ChatGPT, internet, all of the sources. There's so many ways to educate yourself now. So you don't have to pursue college to get education, but don't allow ignorance to fester. Educate yourself.
Educate yourself. I think that is definitely the last word. I am going to take my educated self and hopefully try to educate the world out there and encouraging them to question everything and think about everything and determine whether college or education, that type of education, is right for you. Or maybe you don't need it and you can do it another way. So until next time, remember to...
Question every time.
Right. Very good, because I know when